Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Fitzgerald Genesis, also known as Genesis of Clearwater, because guess what? We have the largest of them all. This is a Genesis G90, and it's not just your standard G90. This is the top trim. This is the G90 Ultimate. But before we get into this supersized sedan, let's talk about what's going on here. This is the vehicle to go up against the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, the BMW 7 Series, and the Audi A8. Genesis, this brand that's only been around since 2017, obviously created by Hyundai to be that premium luxury brand, just like Nissan has Infiniti, Toyota has Lexus, Hyundai has Genesis. Now, with this Ultimate trim, it's getting everything that they could bring at a price point that's gonna be way better than anything any of those German luxury brands can bring to the table. But what the Ultimate trim promises is some V8 naturally aspirated power and some amenities that's gonna make you feel like you're king of your own rolling castle. So let's go ahead, let's find out, is it worth going the G90 route, or are you better off just spending a little bit more money or a lot more money and getting one of those more established luxury nameplates? Let's go ahead and find out. Right off the bat, you'll notice in 2020, there was a refresh that took place. So it all starts at the front of the business, all new headlight housing. It does have LED turn signals, daytime running lamps, and LED headlights. I like the way they split the singular housing into two separate levels. If you look at one of the new Genesis models, like a 2021 Genesis G80 or their first ever SUV, the GV80, it actually has separate headlight housings. I really like that direction, but it's nice that they went a similar setup close on this one. Now, as you work your way down, you're gonna get full functionality, functional side air curtain and air intakes. I like the way they hide everything with this very tasteful lower grille area, just a little bit of chrome in the middle, and then along the bottom portion, you can see how they extend that front fascia out just a tad to give it some character and some flair. And then as we come across the center section, this is something that definitely speaks for itself. This massive grille, crisscross design, all with the shiny chrome finish to it. This is part of that Genesis signature design philosophy. If you'll notice how everything comes to a point. So it's that V-shaped point. Even on the lower portions, I like the way they start very thin and then they flare out towards each of the sides of the front fascia. You do have a front-facing camera. And at first you may see this and it kind of catches you off guard to see such a large grille. But I think especially on the G90, being a larger vehicle, it kind of fits it, especially the more you stare at it. Now, when you get up onto the hood, you're gonna notice that very tasteful Genesis badge, a little bit of Bentley, a little bit of Aston Martin, but everything that looks oh so good. You can see the nice point there, that V shape. Everything goes towards the windshield, fades away, and then you're gonna have higher peaks that rise from the front fascia into the hood and go towards the A-pillar. Now, as we come around the bend on the Ultimate trim, what are we looking at? We're looking at a 19-inch wheel. It is a multi-spoke design, hand-polished look. I do like the center cap, very tasteful with the Genesis badge. 245 on the width, 45 series sidewall. I would think on the Ultimate trim though, a 20-inch wheel would be more satisfactory. So I am gonna give it a half a zonk. It's a sexy looking wheel. I just wish it was an inch bigger. Maybe you've heard that before, I don't know. But fender treatment looks great. I love the Art Deco design. Look at how they take the headlight housing and carry it into the side fender area. And then one of my favorite parts on the Genesis lineup are their side marker lights. Now the G90 has this faux vent, which I'm gonna zonk, but I do like the LED side marker lights. If you look at a G80 or a GV80, they kind of cleaned it up a bunch and actually made it even look better, which I hope that that's gonna get changed for the G90s down the road, but still looking really sharp and definitely a brand identifier. You're gonna have that beautiful pearlescent white on the top of the mirror caps, chrome trim along the bottom, chrome trim on the tops of the door handles, and then of course you're gonna have some bright, shiny metalwork top and bottom. Now the other zonk, besides the 20-inch wheels, is gonna be, there's no panoramic sunroof. To me, having such a small sunroof on such a large vehicle doesn't make sense, so it would be nice to have a panoramic sunroof. But coming towards the rear, remember, we're talking about rear-wheel drive, just like most of the competition. And then when we get to the tail end of the business, you can see how that taillight housing, see how it's got the split to it? That's what I was telling you about. That's what you see at the front and the backs of the 2021 G80 and GV80, but I like the way they brought it into this G90. You do have your 5-liter badge because we got a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8. We drop down, check out the decorative trim rings. It's the same shape as the grille. There's actually a little bit of a point there. Same shape as the grille. They have the reverse lights cleanly located in the lower bumper area. Some chrome trim to blend it all together. And just the back, super clean. I love the Genesis badge with the G90, but why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering this particular Genesis. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. Underneath the hood, there it is. This is gonna be the final days of that 5-liter naturally aspirated engine. I love the engine cover, the Genesis badge, some metallic silver. It's got the V8 badge there. Really, really clean in the overall presentation. Even the way they brought some red here. I don't know why, but that's just visually pleasing, and I like to see that. And you see the aluminum bars that they put up front to stiffen up the front end. Now, what is underneath that engine cover? We know it's a 5-liter, but what kind of power are we looking at? We are looking at clearly 420 horsepower, 383 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. The car weighs almost 5,000 pounds, 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds, quarter mile in 13.9, and MPGs 16 in the city, 24 on the highway. Like I said, if you're looking for that sedan to go up against those German luxury Euros that I mentioned, this in 5-liter form is definitely doing the business. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're in this Genesis G90 Ultimate trim. I know you're at that ultimate point in the review where you're asking yourself, well, how much is this? So a brand new G90 Ultimate is around $75,000. This one being certified pre-owned with only 5,700 miles, you're looking around $63,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels, you're gonna notice a darker tan up top with that cream piping. The stitching is beautiful. Love the wood trim, a little bit of silver, and then you're gonna have 2 memory seat settings. You have the optional Lexicon sound system, and then you're gonna get a nice beige armrest, very, very soft with the stitch work, small door pockets, so maybe a Subway 6-inch cold cut combo, that's about it. But then when you go from the door panel and that beautiful aluminum speaker cover to the dash, more of that leather. The piping is exquisite, the wood trim very nice with the flat silver, and we get to the infotainment system. Now, the bad news is it does not have the upgraded system like in the Genesis G80 and the GV80, but what you're getting is over 12 inches of visual pleasure from this infotainment system. Obviously, navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Is it a touchscreen? Yes, it is. And it's very easy to navigate through. You can get your climate controls, all the different settings you could ever want. Let me throw it into reverse. There's our backup camera. You do have trajectory and 360, and the camera quality is fairly clear. I'll throw it back into park, and then we're right back again. Then I can bring up the map. There we go. And look at that, nice and large and in charge. As we slide down, the silver, I like the way they did the AC vents. You got your start-stop button, slim and trim on the radio controls or the rodeo controls. I don't know if I'd put this in a rodeo, but it's a little too nice for that. You do have dual climate controls, which are easy to get to. And then this is going to control that 8-speed automatic. You have your different drive modes. And then there is a little tiny cubby with some felt lining where you could put a USB, or you have wireless charging. So I do like that. Close that up. You have your direct drive control knob, heated seats, ventilated seats, and power shades, heated steering wheel. Of course, you got your cup holder with your Genesis key fob. It's a little on the large side, but you know what? Large car, large key fob kind of makes sense. And then you're gonna have nice soft leather. Open this up, the Bombay doors. You have a nice little tray here for your pistachios, 2 12 volts, and then easily you could put, I would say, 2 Hope Diamonds in there. So if you have 2 Hope Diamonds, you need to drive around with them, this is the car to haul them in. Look at how they did the Genesis logo. The leather is just so perfect in this car. Perforated with the dark tan piping. And then of course you're gonna get full electric power seats for the passenger and the driver. And then up top, you do have a beige light color headliner. It is that microfiber suede material, and there's that standard sunroof with a manual shade, which I would think in this type of car, Ultimate, it would be nice to have a power shade. And then to top it off, you do have an auto dimming mirror, but guess what? It's not frameless. So this kind of looks very heavy and bulky right here. But overall, room-wise and comfort-wise, I feel like the king of my own rolling castle. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind this cream covered and colored steering wheel over on the business end. Come on over. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have a simple aluminum sill plate. It's got the Genesis name there. It would be nice if this had LED lighting, because I know the competition has a lot of LED lighting in their sill plates. Tons of seat controls, actually more seat controls than the astronauts that were sent to the moon. So you could literally be right there with Neil Armstrong because you have more seat controls than he did. Tons of space, steering wheel, nice leather wrapped. You can see the thumb wheel drive controls. You do have small paddles on the back of the steering wheel. They are plastic, but you can go up and down the 8-speed automatic. And then the dash, I think, is the last big letdown because there's no 12-inch color display. So it would be nice to have a digital display, but you do have a small one in the center where you could scroll through some different information. We have our different drive modes, which are great to go through, and that allows you to go into eco, custom, comfort, and sport. And then you have an analog tach, analog speedometer, and you have a head-up display, which is also nice as well. But it's interesting how they took the brown or dark tan and actually brought that for the carpet as well. Very, very unique styling in this G90. But why don't we get to that back seat? Because I'm telling you, if you think it's great up here, it's even better back there. All right, guys, back seat time in this Genesis G90. My question for you is, pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon? Because the luxury level is really high back here, and it's like a rolling living room. On the backs of the seats, you can see you have 2 monitors that you can watch your favorite TV shows or movies. Of course, you have ample size pockets. Put a couple magazines in there. You know, some of my favorites like Car and Driver or Road and Track. And you could just, read and be driven in a car. It's like reading about cars and being driven in a car. You could do that very comfortably back here. Rear AC, we open up this guy. This is a little bit of a letdown. Why they put 2 12 volts, I'm not too sure. So I am gonna zonk that. It would be nice if they were USBs, let alone USB-Cs would have been even better. But still nice that they have that. Tons of space back here. And you know what? If you want screens to go up, all by the press of a button. More of that microfiber suede material. You do have 2 vanity mirrors that are LED lit. And I love the way the lights slowly get brighter and brighter so it doesn't, mess up your cornea or your retina or something. LED reading lights. And then I hope you're ready for this one because this is pretty wild. The armrest. Boop, 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 boop. Nice. All your controls, ventilated seats, heated seats, the AC controls. You could even get into the navigation and the radio controls. Plus, you thought up front they had a bunch of seat controls. You have tons of seat controls back here. Watch this. Look at this. So you could really get very comfortable. And we have a USB, another 12 volt. You could put 8 Twinkies in there and some Skittles up here. Talk about living life. And then they actually have a pass-through. So you could have your butler be in the back and hand you drinks and food while you're back here. That's what I'm talking about. But why don't we get to that back trunk area and see how your butler is going to be laying back there as you're getting chauffeured in your G90. All right, guys, time to get into the trunk area. I love the way they hide the trunk release button. You just hit that. Nice electric assist. Wide, super wide opening. And then when it comes to a sedan, how much space are we talking about? You're looking at 15.7 cubic feet of space. You can't fold the seats down, but that's okay because I promise you, your backseat passengers are going to love those rear seats. But I like the way there's plenty of room to where you could use this on a regular basis. Go to Costco, get the cases of water, get whatever you need. Obviously, your butler is probably going to be doing that for you. But hey, you'll have the proper sedan for them. But you know what? If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take this 5.0 for a spin.
All right, guys, we're leaving Fitzgerald Genesis. We're in the Genesis G90 Ultimate with the V8 on throttle. So you are gonna get up to speed very, very quickly with that naturally aspirated V8. You're not waiting for turbos to spool up. It's got a decent sound considering all of the sound cancellation, the sound deadening, the thickness of the glass. You can still hear a little bit of that rumble, and I like that. Now, of course, everywhere you look, everywhere you touch, the quality is just at this level that you don't see very often with the materials. Is it perfect? No. There were some things that we touched on when looking at like the dash and whatnot, but I think for the most part, that really isn't going to be the biggest of hangups. It shouldn't be when comparing this to the competition. Very comfortable seats, super smooth ride. I mean, this is just ridiculous. With the long wheelbase, it really just smooths everything out very nicely. I do have it in sport mode. That's gonna adjust how the steering, the throttle, how that transmission, everything's gonna behave with one another. It even increases the bolstering automatically when you put it in sport mode. When you put it back into comfort, then the bolstering kind of chills out and lays back down. It's nice to have that versatility depending on what type of driving you're trying to do. But visibility is great in this thing, and I'm telling you, it's when you compare it to an S-Class or an A8, you're getting a lot for the money, especially the certified pre-owned one. You know, the other thing that I think is really key when looking at this G90 is when you use your turn signals, you are getting those blind spot cameras, and I do like the clarity of the screen right there in the center. So that is one touch that definitely takes back part of that zonk for not having a full digital display. But you can see just how clear it is. I love that. That type of technology is great. But let's do an on-throttle sport mode from a dead stop. Here we go, on throttle. So very, very smooth shifts from the 8-speed, and you're getting the power to the ground, which is great. You know, you got that rear-wheel drive chassis set up. That really just gives you a unique driving experience, so much different than all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. And getting to everything is spot on. You have the required analog clock that looks great in the center right there. Everything is well laid out. It is a little confusing going through the infotainment system, but I think obviously with practice, just like anything else, it will get easier. Brakes feel good. You got those massive 6-piston calipers, fully ventilated rotors. Here we go. On throttle, here we go. Really, really nice. And so quiet in here. So quiet. You could hear a pin drop. I'm gonna go ahead and put in comfort mode. Eco Custom Comfort. And I love the way it shows your Genesis there on the screen. Did you see that? As I go through the different modes. Just the little touches like that bring a little extra something that I always like to see. But hopefully this gave you a great overall feel of what the G90 Ultimate trim brings, especially with the V8 engine. It's just interesting to see this level of fit and finish on a Genesis product. But we're gonna go ahead and get back to Fitzgerald Genesis, so I'll see you in a split second.
All right, guys, been another great day here at Fitzgerald Genesis. I definitely got to thank Rob, Dave, the rest of the crew, getting us access to this G90 Ultimate. It really shows that, you know what, Genesis can bring a lot to the table when it comes to luxury sedans. And if you're looking for one of those nameplates, it might be the one to park in your garage. But if you want to keep seeing supersized luxury sedans on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you in the channel, click the link in the description, get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. Got to give it up to the queen of the camera. She's out here busting her butt, making it happen. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.